You asked how I start these? Terribly.
Terribly?
That's usually how it goes, terribly. Today we are going to be doing a Doctor Who tier list with my best friend. As of now, anyway, we'll see if he's still my friend after we get through this list. Particularly with the Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, of course. Um, Mr. Glaze Croissant. He's a big Doctor Who fan. Um, he was the one who got me into it originally, so I felt it fitting. I couldn't do this list without him. Uh, all well, especially because a lot of these earlier Doctors, before the reboot, I have not seen any of their stuff. I know a little bit based off of what he's told me, so. But he's going to educate us today. So let's see, Mr. Glaze Croissant. Who is well, how do you want to start? You want to go from the worst to the best, or?
I think we'll probably just start with first Doctor and move our way up and just kind of throw him in there, if that works.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. So who would that be? I have no idea.
So that would be this guy right here, this old mean looking dude. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
he
cut
kind of
this
looks like a
out
dead
because
president.
I forgot to ask you. But so, do you censor yourself on your YouTube videos or no?
No.
Okay, good.
No,
So
it
this
doesn't really affect
mean
me.
old crusty looking motherfucker right here. I made sure to write a little note so I knew what to say about him. He's the OG, right? So he's the OG Doctor. He's got to go up like somewhere up here, right? But he's mean as fuck. So for that reason, he doesn't get an S. He gets an A.
Wow. So
Yeah.
he's more like a Peter Capaldi type Doctor.
Yeah, I mean,
Sounds
listen, he
like.
brought the show to life, but that doesn't give him immunity to be an asshole to everybody and just be a grumpy old man.
Yeah.
His time
I
came
would
and
be.
gone.
I would be an asshole if I looked like that dude too. I mean, God Almighty.
Yeah, he was deathly ill in that picture, so
They did it wrong. Did you say he was ill?
deathly.
Okay. All right. He didn't last long after
No,
that was
nah.
taken. All right. So who's the next one? If that was
So
all that you
number
wanted to do for him.
2, Patrick Troughton. Definitely mad props to him because, like, people who are hardcore fans of the show after the first Doctor regenerated, this guy just comes out of nowhere, and they have to like accept him as the new Doctor. Like it may be tough in like nowadays to accept a new Doctor, but back then when this was unheard of, people hated this guy because they were like, he
Yeah,
just swooped in and
that's
took
interesting.
homie's job.
That's interesting. But yeah, I didn't think about that. Like the
Hmm.
first people to experience this.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, that
definitely had
changed.
a. Go ahead.
I guess this was the first time that they put the Doctor in color too, huh?
Actually, no, this picture's in color, but he wasn't in color until the third Doctor started.
Oh, okay.
But
It's
yep.
like a
So
remastered.
I'm gonna put him up here because he had a tough job and he had some pretty good episodes. He was really
Yeah,
like energetic too, which is total opposite from old McCrusty over here. So I really
crusty.
I really liked that about him because he's like kind of jumpy and just kind of brought the show more to
So
life.
he was like I don't want to compare, but he was a Matt Smith
Yeah,
Doctor.
exactly.
Like Matt Smith.
Went
Okay.
from being like I don't want to say a David Tennant, but kind of like a David Tennant because he didn't express himself like physically. It was more emotionally and vocally. And this guy, I mean, there's literally an episode where some Cybermen are shooting at him, and he is holding his ass because they keep like zapping his ass. So I definitely think he deserves it up there.
Yeah, hard job. That's crazy. And I wonder if that was always like a part of the lore to make them change, or if that came about just because they didn't want to end the show, so they were like, we got to right away to keep the actor around.
Yeah, I think if I mean, don't quote me or anything, but I think if I remember correctly, because the first Doctor, William Hartnell, was so sick, they were like, listen, people love this show. We can't just stop it because he's dying. So
Yeah.
let's bring this guy in and just see how it goes. Because at that point, I mean, they had to get rid of the main actor anyway, so it was either going to make it or break it. So
What was he sick? What was the first Doctor sick with? God, don't tell me it was cancer.
honestly, I think it was just old age. Like he was just losing his memory. It wasn't
Yeah.
cancer that I know of.
He was just decrepit.
Just decrepit. Exactly.
All right, number 3.
Number 3, John Pertwee. This guy, again, really like energetic, not as energetic as the second Doctor, but he brought a lot of like physical, like he would fist fight some monsters and like do karate chops and flip them around and kind of stuff. So it was really
Damn,
fun to watch him.
bring some action into it.
Yeah, and he was, I think it was the first Doctor that had a visible tattoo. Don't quote me again, but I think my dad told me it was like really controversial at the time to have whatever
To write
tattoo
him
he
in with the
had, and just yeah.
Oh,
Well, it wasn't anything crazy, but I think it was just to see the Doctor on TV with a tattoo was
okay.
kind
It
of
wasn't like a
strange.
swastika or
No, no,
something.
no. I think it was like a snake.
Okay. Okay.
But
Maybe a "Don't tread on me."
I like the Doctor. I don't like the episodes that he's in, just because like the only reason I go back to watch this Doctor's episodes is because it's classic villains like
Mhm.
Daleks, Cybermen. Well, not even Cybermen. I don't think he had a Cyberman episode,
Yep.
but just some other classic villains that I think deserved a better Doctor. So he's going to get a
Yeah.
C. Probably know this guy, Tom
He,
Baker.
I do know Tom Baker because I was gonna say, I remember at the time you were saying, still saying, I think maybe even over Tennant, like this guy was big.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only one Doctor I was ever curious about to go back and watch the old series, even though I haven't, just because I heard such
Yeah,
great
it's
praises from you.
so dry
So
though. So dry.
refresh me why.
You can't go back. You can't watch new Doctor Who and then go to classic Doctor Who. It would have had to be the other way around, just because when you watch classic Doctor Who, it's so slow. Each episode is like 30 minutes. There's 4 episodes to a story, and it's just
Oh
ridiculously
fuck.
drawn out.
Yeah.
And it
Couldn't hold our attention now.
no,
Maybe
not at
back
all.
then it was different, but
Even
yeah.
now, when I go back and watch it, I find myself skipping through to get to certain good bits, to watch good bits
Mhm.
about that I remember about it.
But it still is better than any of the new Doctor Who episodes from Jodie, though, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah, I'll give it that.
so it's dry, but it's not
It's
that.
not that. It's dry, but it's not bad. That's the difference.
Right, right.
But he's got to get an S because he was the Doctor for 7 years, which I think to this day is still the longest running Doctor.
Mhm.
If you ask any person who was born in like the 70s or the 80s, that's their Doctor. That's the one they remember. He came back in Day of the Doctor as the curator. He's done hella audio dramas, and he's just like the most well known and I think the most liked, especially for the classic era, and
Yeah,
definitely kept
and
the show alive for that that era.
yeah, because just looking at him, I mean, just visually, he's such a change than anything
Hmm.
before.
Oh
Even that
yeah,
alone brings a lot of charisma just looking at him, and I haven't seen anything from him.
absolutely. He's super charismatic. And the iconic scarf. Everybody knows the scarf.
Hmm.
He brought up that like if you've ever heard of New Who, I think they've done it a few times where they'll offer a jelly baby. He's the one that started that. It's like his
Yeah, yeah,
catchphrase.
yeah,
So he's
yeah. I
he's
remember that
definitely
too.
up in the top tier.
If you could put him higher than S, you would, pretty much, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he's a huge reason, even though he's not necessarily my favorite Doctor. I think he's a huge reason that the show was as impactful and as successful as it was, and
Hmm.
still is.
I'll go back and watch some from him because
There's a few goodies. Again, classic, long, drawn out, kind of boring in the middle, but some good stories.
yeah.
All right, let's see. Number 5, David Tennant's father-in-law, Peter Davison.
Really?
Yeah, his David Tennant's wife is Peter Davison's daughter.
Oh, so maybe Tennant didn't have to work as hard for the
No,
job as what you'd
he didn't
think.
have to get on his knees for that job. He had some
Yeah,
connections.
yeah. That's interesting, but
Yeah,
okay.
but
How was this guy?
I really want to like him, but he doesn't like bring anything to the table that actually stands out. He's just literally like the most average Doctor that I can think of. Even his
Big shoes to
episodes.
fill too
Yeah,
after the
after
last guy.
him. Yeah, so I mean, I guess it's not really his fault because any Doctor Who actor that comes in, they can't really be the same as the last Doctor, and it's difficult to bring something new to the table every single time. But
Yeah.
even just some of the episodes he had were just bad, like just
Oh
awful.
shit.
No story, just bad writing, kind of like the Chibnall era right now. But
So maybe not entirely his fault to be
no, no, no,
rated
no,
so
no.
low.
I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he did his best with what he could, kind of like Jodie, and just wasn't able to come out on top. So I'm gonna
Eh,
give him. I'm kind of stuck because like I want to give him a C for sympathy, and because there are some episodes that I go back to watch of his, but he's
you
kind
can
of
put
like,
him wherever you want, but I hear a D when you talk about him. That's what
okay,
I
all right,
hear.
we're gonna throw him there then.
Okay.
Not super memorable. Maybe a few good episodes, but that's really it. All
I'm
right,
getting
this
nervous
guy,
the closer we get to characters that I actually know.
this guy, absolute asshole. His
Oh.
companion that he had, Perry, he
Hmm.
was nothing but a dick to her. Like she tried to be so nice to him. She tried to suck up to him. She would do whatever she could to gain his approval, and he would treat her like actual garbage. And I never understood why, but I actually
Dude,
talked to some people on Reddit, and apparently it's just his regeneration just made him a grumpy man, and in like the audios, apparently he turns much nicer and is way better. But I don't listen to the audios, so
I would love to watch that honestly because that sounds like the such a breath of fresh air. Because even with Capaldi being a doctor that's rough around the edges, he still wasn't like mean to his companion
yeah,
like that, you know.
no,
So
this
that would
guy
be interesting to see. It'd be funny.
absolute dick. I'll find some clips of him just being an absolute ass to Perry,
I like that.
and I'll send them to you because it's abundant. There's so many. So
I
uh,
like that. I want that in the next season of Doctor Who, the new companions.
and that Cody wears is ugly, so he gets an F.
But damn, you're putting him down
Yeah,
there.
no,
Sounds like you
man.
had some character,
I
man. That's
mean,
a shocker.
it's same with these guys. Like I go back and watch some of his episodes only because of like the classic villains, the
Mhm.
Daleks and Cybermen, and other than that, I can't stand this fucker. I don't like
Well,
him.
as long as you save room for Jodie on that road, then we're good.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right.
Seventh Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, my personal favorite. Didn't get as long of a run as I felt like he deserved. Really energetic. He played spoons constantly. He had the iconic umbrella with the question mark on it. Just
Hmm.
really, I don't know how to explain him. Just super witty, really funny at times, and way sweeter than this fucker.
He played spoons. What is that? Like an instrument?
Yeah, like he would put, I think it's two or three spoons together, and by slapping them on his thigh or on his palm, he would like create a rhythm like a da-da-da-da-da-da-da with spoons.
Okay.
Really, really
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, it's kind of quirky.
And just a friendly guy on screen.
Okay.
So if it were, I'm trying to keep as much bias as possible out of this
Hmm.
because I want to put him here, but his stories kind of lacked, and they kind of drew on and on and on some unmemorable villains. So I'm gonna give him an A just because he's a cool dude in my book. But as the
Sorry.
Doctor, it probably could have been better.
Yeah, I didn't even realize how much the seasons and stories themselves actually affect your thoughts on the doctors. You know, you don't really
Hmm.
separate it.
Oh yeah, no,
It's
because
interesting.
I mean, they just their personalities really come out whenever you kind of watch them from beginning to end. Even if they're not super great in the first beginning episodes, their personality develops kind of like nowadays. But it's just a longer process of sitting through
Right.
4 episodes per story, 12 stories. I ain't got time for that. Let's see, Paul McGann, eighth or ninth, yeah, eighth Doctor. He had a
Yeah, I've seen
TV
that one.
movie, and that was it.
Oh, okay. That's I've seen it. I think I've
Hmm.
seen it because uh it leads into the first Doctor I've seen, right?
You might have seen like the little mini episode he was in, where he
Yeah.
drank the goblet and became the next Doctor.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think that's it. Yeah.
He so that I
You
really
can,
liked that because that was really, it kind of filled in that blank that a lot of people who are really into Doctor Who were like, what the hell happened? What happened
yeah,
from here to
between then
here?
and now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
but he did a movie in like the 90s, and it didn't do well. It was American made, so it really didn't do well in the UK. Didn't do well in
Right.
America because Americans weren't really into Doctor Who. But again, apparently his audios were really, really good. Like sort of like the expanded universe.
Excuse
So
me.
So I'm gonna actually I gotta reference my notes because I don't remember what I placed. I placed him as a B because like the potential that he had was all there. He just wasn't able to express.
I'm sorry.
Good. Are you good?
Dude, I legit just had the insight to mute my mic and then and then sneeze and then unmute it. That was some complex like thinking for me, like all at once.
Too fast
But
paced, man.
yeah, okay. I'm so sorry.
You're good. Now we're on the War Doctor. Or no, that's not her. The War Doctor. So
Yes, I
what are
remember
your
him.
thoughts? Because this is where you get to pitch in.
Yeah, well, I'll do my best because the problem is this has been a while ago since I watched these, and but I do know that actor from Harry Potter, I
Mm-hmm.
believe.
Yep.
So I was already a little bit partial to that because he's the Wong guy, right?
Yep. That's him.
Yeah. So I think the War Doctor, for me, just because of that little impact, I think I'm gonna have to put him at a B,
I'll put him at a B.
just because he didn't have a lot of time either. Where would you put him?
Well, it's really funny because I've in my notes the exact same thing. He played the Doctor really well. That I think, even though it was literally for one episode. I think he's in some audio dramas, but I know as an actor, John Hurt is like really talented. So I actually placed him at a B too. Look
Okay,
at that, great
nice. That's why we're
minds.
best friends, right?
Exactly.
Let's hope it stays that way. I'll come through this camera.
All right, Christopher Eccleston. What are your thoughts on the Ninth Doctor?
I've it's tough not to let having seen them in other things kind of influence you
Mm-hmm.
because I just saw him in a show. I don't know. I was showing you the show because he had like the wrinkles in his
Yep.
forehead. I was making fun of, but yeah, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. That kind of sours your taste that he wanted out early with
Yeah.
him, and you have to put that out of your mind. But once I put that out, um, I remember being sad that he was gone because I really liked him. The only thing that's made me not sad that he was gone anymore was that Tenet turned out to be so much better.
Yeah.
But gosh, I think I got to put him at an A. You know,
That's funny. I actually put him in an A as well.
I was so close to a B, but I was like, I'm just letting whatever shit happen to where he left the show, like sour
Yeah.
me because he's really good.
Very good. I think
Um,
he kind of like with the second Doctor, tasked with bringing the show back after so long, and after people are so used to the classic series, kind of having that on his shoulders. So I think
right.
that's plus. I mean, just I think it was because he kind of brought the show back that he's got so many iconic episodes,
Hmm.
or I think he's got some iconic episodes that just feel really nostalgic and feel like Doctor Who.
Yeah,
So that really definitely helped.
yeah,
And I
because in
good.
such a short time, they made you care about him
Exactly.
like just as much as you would, David Tennant in a
Hmm.
shorter time. So imagine if you had longer with Eccleston.
Exactly. Yeah, I
So
really like if there's one doctor that I would actually listen to the audios for, it'd probably be him because he just came out, I think, with a whole collection. It would
oh,
definitely be
cool.
him.
So he's still involved with it somewhat.
Hmm.
Something's got to pay the bills.
Yeah, and I think he left. It's still. I actually just watched a video on it maybe a few weeks ago, but apparently he just had some quote. I think. Well, I don't want to say quote unquote, but like some creative differences between the writers and the producers and all that, and ended up just kind of getting out before it turned into something worse.
Hmm.
And actually, there was a big controversy because the woman who does like the PR for BBC wrote that he chose, or no, not that he chose. It was something about him leaving that was basically a lie. And then, he came out and was like, yo, what the hell? Like, you're just
Telling the
saying these
truth
lies
about it.
about him. And she had to publicly apologize to him. So that was fun.
God damn. They don't mess around in the UK, huh?
No.
Publicly apologize. What?
I think that's why he didn't come back for the 50th, because the differences were one thing, but then when they were like, this is why he left when it was a lie, I think that kind of soured him from the whole thing.
Yeah. It's a little awkward.
Yeah. But his regeneration led us to one of the most well-known New Who doctors, David Tennant. Go ahead. What are your thoughts
Dude,
on DT?
you even gotta ask.
I know
You
you're going to
even
put him at
gotta
an S, aren't
ask.
you?
You gotta put him
Gotta
at
put
an
him at an
S,
S. Me
man.
too.
He's
That's why I had him.
everybody's favorite doctor. My mom hasn't ever even seen Doctor Who, and I guarantee you she would say David Tennant just for the
Absolutely.
hell of it. You know?
He's the Tom Baker of the 2000s, basically. I mean, everybody knows who he is. Like you said, even if they don't watch Doctor Who. And I've heard a lot about how people just think he's so overrated because everybody likes him. But I'd like to argue that I don't think he's overrated. I think he was just a really good doctor, and people
Yeah.
miss that feeling of really enjoying their doctor.
And they even gave him more like episodes, I feel like, than
Oh yeah.
maybe Matt Smith, I want to say. It feels like they gave him extra. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but just because they wanted to keep him around for
hmm
as long as absolutely possible, because he's got I don't know, everything that you want the doctor to have, the charm, the obviously the smarts, but the emotion in there too,
hmm
I mean, he's just got everything. So,
Absolutely. He was easy to no homo fall in love with.
yeah,
So
yeah. Do you have to say no homo because you're gay?
I don't, but I figured I'd say it on your behalf.
Oh,
No,
thanks,
definitely
man.
homo on my
Good,
side.
good, good looking out.
But yeah,
Homo.
definitely classic. I don't think he's overrated, even though he's pretty much everyone's favorite doctor. Um, and I
I'm
definitely
so,
miss that feeling he brought.
yeah, me too, man. Me too. So sad when I had to see him go, but I'm sorry. I just gotta ask, who is the black chick, dude? Who is the black chick? Are we skip? I
Oh,
gotta
you
skip ahead.
haven't
It's
finished
bugging me.
Jodie's era yet, have you?
Oh no. Okay, never mind. I know who
Oh,
that bitch is. I just didn't care to
okay,
remember.
okay. No, I same because I didn't think she was going to be important.
Yeah,
But
but
she is.
okay.
Well, actually, you haven't finished Jodie yet, have you?
No, I'm like 2 episodes behind. That's it.
So she's. Do you want me to try to make her spoiler free?
No, I
No.
don't care
Okay.
enough anymore.
Fair enough. All right. So Matt Smith, the doctor with no eyebrows, tough to replace David Tennant. What are your thoughts?
Dude, I gotta say, I heard somebody call fucking Matt Smith in a YouTube video I watched. They called him fucking Frankenstein, British Frankenstein.
I mean,
Isn't that
the head
fucked up?
shape, man.
Yeah, it's the head shape. Yeah, you just like something about him looks wrong. Just so different than anybody else. Like how people with autism clearly like have something wrong with their
Yes.
face, but you can't place it. That's Matt Smith's face.
Absolutely.
But
He's just he looks like a
yeah.
a grown child.
He does. That's what it is. Yeah. But okay, so looks aside, because that would definitely be an F. He is an S tier for me, man, because uh, he just brought so much childlike joy, right? Because he was young, so that's part of why they had it in there,
Mhm.
right? But so that young, happy energy, and that right there could get very annoying. However, they so greatly balance that out with uh, a, a a badass side to him, like a darker side to him. I remember in the first episode, he was like, or some of the first episodes, he was like bumbling and so happy, and it was funny.
Mhm.
But like I said, it can get old. But then he had a line where he's like, this is uh, my planet. I'm the doctor. You remember this
Mhm.
first time saying that, and all the
Yep.
ships like flew away, and something I can't quote what it was exactly, but that was like when that's the perfect yin and yang
Yeah.
to that bumbling happiness, was that badass dark side.
Absolutely.
uh and he also had like some deep, of course, wisdom too. Like at the end, you can tell through his great. I go back and watch it on YouTube sometimes. His regeneration,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the great speech that he gave,
Yep.
such a wise and comforting speech.
Makes me cry
Um,
every time.
yeah, same. So that that's why he's an S tier for me, because such a great balance.
Absolutely. I actually I wrote that as a note that he brought like a childlike excitement to the show that because it previously it was kind of I don't want to say it was for children, but it was all right, you know, as a child watching it. But he brought in like you said, they balanced it really well. So I think that child viewers watched it and enjoyed it just as much as the adult viewers. The
Mhm.
balance was just great, and like you said, you know, it can be really annoying. Like look at Jar Jar Binks from Star Wars. Everybody hates him
Right,
because he was
right.
too childlike, but
Mhm.
with him, it was just. And on top of that, trying to follow David Tennant and find his own style, I think he did a fantastic job. He's definitely,
Yep.
aside from the River Song episodes and the Donna episode from David Tennant, some of the most
Mhm.
emotionally captivating episodes that I've ever seen were with Matt Smith.
Yep.
And partly Peter Capaldi too, but we'll get into him later. But I
I
actually
agree.
had him at an A because it was just tough to follow David Tennant, and it was like going from well, obviously it's I don't want to say complete opposites, but it was just really tough to bridge the gap between David Tennant and Matt Smith for me.
Mhm.
But I think you put it really well, so I'm gonna throw him up there as an S.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, that's fair, because I wouldn't say he was better than David Tennant
No.
either. I will tell you something that messed with my viewing of Matt Smith, and this is just kind of off topic of the video, but I swear the show went through a production change at the time. Did it change writers,
Yep.
or because something about the show, I can't place my finger on it, but it felt so different.
Hmm. Yeah. It
And
we had Russell T Davies for 9 and 10, Stephen Moffat for 11 and 12, and now it's Chris Chibnall for 13.
okay,
So
so it
three
was a
different
production
writers so
change.
far. But yeah, no,
Okay.
I've always felt that way too, and I didn't understand it when I was little because I didn't process the thought of them changing writers. But I was like, with David Tennant, we got flashbacks of Rose, and we got to see Rose again, and all these like past occurrences and people would come back and kind of give you that boost of nostalgia for a later episode. And then we
Mhm.
get to Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi, and there's no mention of Captain Jack. There's no mention of any past
Yes.
companions. It
Yep.
was like a fresh restart, which wasn't bad, but it's like, you like those little nostalgic things that just kind of they make you feel they give you some kind of gratification that you've been watching for so
Right.
long and that you're like, "Oh, I know when that happened." That clicks with you.
Yep.
And I finally got that with Peter Capaldi when it explained why he regenerated into that face, if you remember that. But yeah, after the new writers, that would always screw me up as a kid because I'd be like, "What the fuck? Where's Rose? Like, she's not dead. Let's bring her back."
Right. Right. It
uh,
took some time to grow on you,
mm-hmm.
for sure, without them there.
Yeah.
But then the characters of Matt Smith
Yep.
and I don't know, I forget his companion's name, Brody, something like that.
Rory.
Rory, that's what it was. Okay, but Rory and the redhead chick, I'm really
Yeah.
bad at names, but those two and those new characters, they're nostalgic to you now. So
Exactly.
now in the Doctor Who you're watching now, you're like, where the fuck are they at?
Exactly. It's like at the time it was really tough to like because it was like I was burying that old part and having to start afresh against my will. But like you said, yeah, now those characters are nostalgic and it's like, yeah,
Right.
where are they? So
Well, they're bringing them back now that Doctor Who's as low as it's ever been. They're
yeah,
bringing everybody
you
back.
got to do that cash grab. Gotta
Yeah,
literally scoop the bottom of the bowl to get what they can.
yeah. They learned that from Spider-Man: No Way Home. Whenever they brought
Hmm.
back the old characters, they're like, this shit works.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
All right, so Peter Capaldi, what's your thoughts?
Ooh, this
Number
one's
12.
this one's interesting because whenever he aired, I really wasn't a fan.
Same.
But I think it was your dad, because Quentin's dad is a Doctor Who fan, a huge
Hmm.
one. So uh, he put it to me like, yeah, I was like, he's such an asshole though, he's so mean, he's such a dick. But that's whenever he told me, he was like, but this is good, this is unique, because when was the last time between all of them you've seen something like that? And I was like, oh, yeah. I didn't look at it like that. That it is such a refresher.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I like that about him, that he was so, I don't know, aggressive, stern, angry. You know,
Yeah.
it matched great with the Scottish accent, right? Because it just sounds
Yep.
angry, I think, as they say. And then, but of course, I'm partial to. I think Clara, for me, balances out him and gives his doctor a boost. Some of those episodes.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna have to put him at an A, I think, and I feel like that's really high for him. But the problem is, like, seeing where Doctor Who's gone after him, it's
Yeah.
like, man, he just seems like gold,
Yeah.
you know? So I didn't like his episodes. Once Clara was gone and we moved on to the black chick, I started to care less with his episodes. Maybe
Yeah.
that's a bias with me and my bias towards Clara. I don't know. Uh, but so yeah, I could even put him at a B, and I would be fine with that. So where do you put him?
I put him at an. Well, I have him on here as an S, just because to me he was like a slow burner. Like you said, when he first came out and he was like just so mean and so aggressive, I didn't like it. But he grew on me over time, just like every other doctor does. And it's like you said that my dad had told you, it puts a new perspective into it. He brings something new, something that hasn't been done before. And while even though I look back and I still don't really like his first few episodes because of that reason, I totally, I guess, agree with it, with how he developed over time and became less mean and more caring. And you're not alone. After Clara, when it came to Bill Potts, it kind of fell off. I don't know what it was, man. If it was
Yeah,
just the episodes weren't that good, or if I just wasn't into her character. It just,
Horseface.
yeah. God damn it!
You agreed with it. I saw
God
you.
damn it!
You agreed with it. You agreeable motherfucker.
She wasn't the
But yeah,
best. The guy, she's
yeah.
a lesbian, but yeah.
Also, he had a great going out speech again. I still like to
Hmm.
watch his up until Jody's point because it's so. Oh, and they give him little gimmicks too. Like I like some of them. Like I mean, I like all the Doctor's gimmicks, with the bow tie for Matt
Yeah.
Smith, but his glasses and the
Hmm.
guitar, super badass.
Hmm.
I like going back and
Absolutely.
watching some of that stuff. And then I really like his line. I don't know why it just sticks out to me, but I love his regeneration from Smith to Capaldi whenever he's like, kidneys.
Kidneys.
I got new kidneys.
I don't like the
He's like,
color.
she's like, of your kidneys. I love that. But yeah,
Absolutely.
those are things. So, but if you want to put him at an
I
S, I can
think
stand for that as well.
I think A. Well,
Hmm.
I think the only reason I had him at an S was because of that character development, and especially with the connections that I had during his era. Like I got really connected to Clara more than I was with 11. So I was
Same.
touring all the hell when she went.
Yeah.
Like you said, he was badass with the glasses and the guitar. He made me really like Missy. I didn't think I was gonna like Missy, but then throughout his
Yeah.
tenure, I really really liked. Like I've never been a huge fan of the Master as a villain, but with Michelle Gomez playing the Missy, absolutely fell in love with her.
Yeah. They had a great dynamic.
Hmm. And his
Unlike
ending
what they're
was,
trying to do with Jody and the new master.
yeah. I don't get me wrong. I like the new Master, but I think he's wasted in this season,
Yeah.
or this era. But and
Yeah.
then Peter Capaldi's just ending and regeneration was just so beautiful and
Hmm.
really tugged at your heartstrings. So I'm gonna say A or an S. What do you think?
Um, I think I can move up to an. I'm gonna have to say A.
A.
I'm gonna have to say A, just because I only liked him up until Clara
Fair
was,
enough.
till she was gone.
Fair enough.
So, but that wasn't him. That was just everything else. But it soured it for me.
Yeah.
So,
We'll do Ruth first since we don't really know a whole lot about her yet.
do we
But
care to?
I'll no. I'll give you the gist, man. Basically, she's set up to be the doctor before the first doctor, and
Hmm.
all of those regenerations before the first doctor have been like wiped, basically. And so this is the doctor, but she has no memory of being the doctor and this whole other life that she led. And
Okay.
it's, if you don't care about spoilers, I'm super fucking pissed at the season finale of Flux, because she
Oh,
finally
I've seen
gets.
it.
You have? Okay, yeah, she
I
finally
think
gets
so.
the
Yeah.
watch, and she's, it holds
Throws it
all
in
of
the
her memories
TARDIS.
and stuff. Yeah, throws it in the TARDIS. I'm like, this is the whole reason. This is the only thing you were trying to do, and you were willing to die for it. And then, like, what?
I know,
So
man. That's why I stopped that shit. That's why I haven't watched the next two that they
it's
have
so
released.
infuriating. But
Hmm.
I do have to say that I think she's a badass, especially in that Fugitive of the Jadoon episode where she basically went toe to toe with another Time Lord. I think she's
Hmm.
badass. I wanted to say that she would give more insight to like the Time Lords before the time that we knew them, but
Hmm.
with Jodie throwing that watch away and it looking like that whole storyline's probably going to get retired because we're switching writers again in the next series, I have to give her. I'm going to give her an E because it's like she's not horrible, but we don't have enough of her or know enough about her, and she's probably never going to come back again. So I got to throw her an E.
It's because she's black, isn't it?
It's because she's bad. Do you
I
have any?
mean,
Do you have any thoughts
no.
on?
Do I have any thoughts about her? I don't fucking care about her, Quentin. I don't care about her because she's in Jodie Whittaker's episode, so my brain is already too turned off and threw up and bled inside of itself to care.
Oh, moving on to Jodie. I'll say I gave her the benefit of the doubt, right? Like I wanted when I was when I was thinking about Jodie, I was like, you know what? Let's look at her as a doctor and not as how she was written. And some of the keynotes that I wrote down, she was the first woman doctor, which I was super excited for because I was like, it's again, like with Peter Capaldi when he got really angry, it's a whole new direction. I was looking forward to see where they were going to go with that. And they didn't go absolutely fucking anywhere with that because nothing, she might as well have just stayed a man. I think the only episode where her being a woman was actually utilized was the witch episode, where I don't think a male doctor could have played the part as well as she could just because she was a woman during the witch trials, if that makes
Oh, okay.
sense.
Yeah.
I think she
Yeah.
did okay with what she was given. The things that drove me absolutely fucking crazy about her was when she would explain something. You're used to the doctor explaining something to his companions, right? But when
Hmm.
she would explain something, it would be more like a monologue. Like when David Tennant would explain something, Rose or Martha or Donna would kind of start to get it and, kind of bounce back off of them and start a conversation. With her, it's all monologue. She's just talking to herself, flaunting about how she's so smart and has to explain everything. And it got on my nerves because she just goes on these tangents where she just talks and talks and talks and talks and nobody else talks back to her.
Yeah.
And
As
it
women are always,
yeah,
just
exactly. Another time, I guess, that her being a female was utilized was when she just wouldn't shut the fuck up. And it made like whenever like something was super serious, like the world's about to end, and she just kept talking, it was just cringy. It wasn't even serious at that point. And
right.
I'll send you a clip of it if you don't know what I'm talking about. But she's got what me and Danny like to call screwdriver arm because anytime she uses her screwdriver, it's one of these, right? It's one of she's got to extend her arm up and then bring it down. And
Oh
now
yeah.
that you're watching her, you're never going to be able to unsee that. Anytime she uses her sonic screwdriver against a door, against a Dalek, it's always one of those like she's a
Yeah.
superhero. It's
I
so
can't
fucking
envision her
annoying.
doing that because I probably have seen it so many
It's
times.
so annoying. And and at the end of Flux, whatever, there's that cliffhanger. And what's her name? The blue chick is like reaching out to touch her, to kill her, or whatever. And then it ends right there. Me and Danny are like, oh my God, what's she gonna do? Is she gonna pull something out of her ass and like teleport away? Like, what's gonna happen? How is she gonna outwit her way through this? What does she do? She moves to the side a little bit. This almighty creature that can dissolve time and space, reaching out to touch her, and she just jukes to the left a little bit. God awful.
Yeah, she. Yeah, that's just, I mean, that's like you said, the writing. I mean,
You can tell
the
I'm
problems
passionate
there.
about that.
No, I'm so passionate to the point that I'm not passionate anymore, if
Yep.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I'm just dead inside from watching it, to be quite honest.
Yep.
And it's been something with the writing that's been building, I swear, since like I said, Clara left with Doctor Who.
Hmm.
But like I said, with Capaldi, at least we had a good doctor. With
Yeah.
Jodie, we do not.
No.
And that is on account of, I think, how, I hate to say it, I know everybody says it and it's cringe, but how woke Doctor Who has become.
Yeah.
It's fine to be supportive of other things and what have you, but there's ways to do it when it's seamless, and
Yep.
there's ways to do it where it's look at me, look what I did, and
Hmm.
everybody knows that kid is annoying.
It's every episode is a political statement at this point,
Yes.
and it's
So,
annoying.
but I would say not all of that is just chalked up to the writing. I would say Jodie Whittaker isn't a very good actress. I don't think there's not a lot of range in her emotions for
Hmm.
me. But again, all of that could just be, what am I trying to say, reflecting from me not liking the stories
Yeah.
and projecting onto her. But I don't think so. I don't even think that she's really that good
No.
of an actress. She comes across as obnoxious a lot of times, and again, that's just part of the writing. With some of the things, I cannot stand to hear her say "fam." I can't
Oh,
stand it.
yeah.
I know,
It's
know they're
so
trying to do
cringy.
something different, but it is so cringy every single
Hmm.
time.
I will say that I don't want to call her a bad actress because she was really good in Broadchurch and she was really good in Black Mirror, even though it was like for just a single episode. I think she was
Mhm.
a lot better in those more serious, realistic, just not sci-fi fantasy roles. I think as the Doctor, she sucked, and I just don't think it's something within her acting range. Not a huge fan of the whole like love relationship tension thing that's building between her and Yaz.
I wasn't even gonna say anything because I was like, maybe it's just me,
Mm-mm,
but you
no,
see it too.
I mean I've never
Yeah,
been a fan of it. Like with Rose and the Doctor, I wasn't a fan of them like falling in love, but I did like the whole romantic like between Martha and the Doctor, where Martha was like head over heels for the Doctor, and the Doctor just didn't even notice. I thought that was
yeah.
cool because like that's realistic. But like I just think, oh, a Time Lord and a human who fall in love, it's never gonna work out because the show has to move on, and it's just
Mhm.
gonna be messy. So I'm not a huge fan of that. It's
He's
not
already
because they're
married to the
lesbians. Like
TARDIS.
the TARDIS
Yeah,
and River
right.
Song.
Yeah, right. River Song too. I
Hmm.
forgot, but it's almost like they're doing either the romance or it's like a like how Claire was so obsessed with it that she like was gonna become the Doctor
Yeah.
herself. Like that's how much, and that's how it feels with Yaz. Like a repeat of Claire, like being so obsessed with being the Doctor herself that it's gonna lead to her downfall
Yeah.
at some point.
Yep.
And this is just, I like just in touch with Jodie. I know I said I didn't want this going long, but you can cut this out if you care to. But fucking isn't Graham and the fucking old man just the weirdest combination you've ever seen? Like so
Weirdest,
obviously,
cringiest, not even good actors. Everything they
yes,
say sounds like stiff. It just sounds like they're being forced to say it.
fucking weirdest thing I've ever seen. And
Yeah.
like if they made, like, I think if they made Graham younger, the black guy is
Hmm.
Graham.
Ryan.
Ryan. If they had
Graham
made
Fuller.
Ryan, this shows you how much. I swear to God, before Jodie, I would watch every episode of Doctor Who. Whenever
Hmm.
her seasons came out, I like I'll have Doctor Who on in the background while I do other
Do something
stuff.
else.
And it's not the show to do that with because you're gonna
Mm-mm.
be really lost. But even if I was actively watching, I would be lost.
Yep.
So with some of it. Um. So obviously, where do we both want to put Jodie?
I have her as an E, but I'm stuck between E and F. So she deserves the F. I know.
Don't forget, I know
You
where
sent
you
me a
live,
bomb in the
motherfucker.
mail.
No, that shit's expensive, dude.
Just send a bomb in the mail.
No, just sending mail, not a bomb specifically. I should have specified. Sorry. All right,
Just
definitely cut that out.
posters. Yeah. I don't want to get
All right,
flagged.
if we could put Jody below F, we would, but that's just as far as the list goes. What are you gonna title it? The Grave.
Oh man, I meant to add one. Just a sad face. Just a generally disappointed face.
Oh man, that's great. All right, so that was our Doctor Who tier list video. Thank you for watching, and we, or just me, will see you in the next one.
Adios. Definitely cutting adios. Oh my god.